So what advice do you have? There is actually a circuit that you as a comedian you actually get into a circuit, like a club circuit. Because I've heard the comedians say they leave Texas and they go up through Oklahoma and they do like a circuit of clubs.
There's several actually, but initially what happens with these guys is they start working around town.
Uh-huh.
They start working my room, they start working the other 3 clubs in town,
Uh-huh.
and then they start venturing out, into San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Amarillo, Fort Worth, Lubbock, New Orleans, all these surrounding areas, regional clubs, and then they just go on further and further out as time goes by, and they start climbing up the ladder from opening acts to middle acts to headline acts.
And that's actually the hierarchy. Is you open, which is like 5 to 10 minutes. You give
usually
someone.
About 15. In the old days, it used to be 20 minutes, but now you can get away with 12, 15 minutes.
And then your middle act does how long?
25 to 30.
And your recommendation is how much of that should be clean?
I always tell these guys when they first start initially at my room, you got to have 5 minutes of clean material. Something you wouldn't be ashamed of doing anywhere. Your parents can watch it, can listen to it, because you're the host you're going to be the host of the show initially. So you have to set it up right. You can't
Meaning
just go in there.
You're going to be the host
You're
introducing.
you're going to be the opening act, the warm-up act,
Right.
and the host of the show. So you're going to be 3 people combined. So it has to be palatable. You can't be up there and just start cussing and saying all kind of stuff. People are going to go, what the hell is this?
Right.
And then they leave. And I have had people complain about the opening act and leave before the headliner comes up.
I see.
Because they're offended by this guy. So you got to be clean initially.
And then your headline, okay, so that's opener does 15, 10, 15.
Mm-hmm.
Your middle does about 30?
25 to 30 minutes, depending.
And then your headliner does?
45 at least.
45. And do you look for headliners out of the city because that brings more people in?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the majority of my headline acts at the club are from out of town.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I were somebody in town and I wanted to cut my teeth, what rules would you give me or what tips would you give me to come to your club? I know 5 minutes because you made that
5 minutes
clear.
of clean.
I got to have it clean.
You got to dress right. You can't come in there in torn jeans or, just looking like a bum.
So those jeans that they wear real low with the underwear sticking out the back ain't going to cut it on your stage.
No. I mean, the first time I had actually a guy from Louisiana one time audition for me, a black guy from Louisiana. And this is the first time I had seen him, so, met him, so I didn't know what his act was like. So he goes in the green room and he stays in there. And when it's time for him to come out, he came out in a KKK outfit.
Oh, Lord.
This black guy in a KKK outfit. And then he takes his hood off and goes, oh, my God, you can't do that. So, you can't be wearing stuff like that.
So how did you correct this? What did you do?
Well, by the time he was already on stage and not much I could do.
It was already...
And he was only up for 5 minutes anyway. But he was
done.
such a nice guy, I really couldn't yell at him. I just told him, listen, don't do this again. Haven't seen him since.
No?
No, poor guy. He probably got beat up on the way home.
Oh, no, that's horrible. So what about, I know you have 2 children in the business, too. You have an actor son.
My son was an actor, yeah, he's in Los Angeles.
And then I've seen your daughter on stage.
And she's a stand-up.
She's an excellent comedian, but that's not actually her full-time, or is she?
She works for us during the day.
So she works for the club during
She
the
works
day.
for the club during the day. She manages the office and stuff.
Real high energy. I've seen her in a couple of documentaries. There was a documentary made here about the comedy circuit. Suda Bae Babcock, did you see that?
Yeah, in fact, I was in it, yeah.
Yeah,
it was called The Circuit.
The Circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Circuit.
That was filmed quite a few years ago.
Yeah, trying and your daughter was in there, and they were trying to show what it takes to be a stand-up comedian. It takes a lot, not just good material, but it's a physically draining, I guess you'd say, performance. Like T-Sean kind of walked around with a beer in his hand when we watched his tape earlier.
Everybody has their little quirks, every little things that they do. I go up with a cigar.
Yes.
I got to have my cigar.
Which the earlier piece that we had with the club owner, how we do it, with that was our homage to you. Was the cigar
Oh, thank you very
homage
much.
to
I
you.
am honored.
That's the prop I made him use. I said, this is for Danny, because Danny walks around with his cigar. So, other tips, anything else that comes to mind that you would like to impress upon people, that it's a business, there's
Yes,
alcohol
it is.
in the room, there's cigarettes in the room, but you're running a business, and you, in order to make it till next month, have to pay your bills.
Yeah, sometimes these guys, don't get drunk. I don't mind these guys having a drink or two before they go on, but some of them have actually gone up there drunk and just walked off stage or done something stupid and crowd gets upset and they leave. Oh, so don't do that.
Okay.
Because they want to calm their nerves, because there's nerves. Oh, it's my first time on stage. What am I going to do? And they take a drink, and next thing you know, they have 3 or 4, and they're going, I'm really happy now.
And they're sloppy.
I know exactly what I'm going to do now. Oh, you walking out that door is what you're going to do.
And as far as drug use and stuff like that?
No. I don't allow that.
Yeah.
I mean, no, none of that stuff. That's not going to help. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Some of these guys think, oh, it helps, it enhances my performance. No, it doesn't.
Well, I know that in your club you said that if someone has like a CD or they have a book or something, they can actually sell that in your club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, after the show is over, if they want to run a merchandise table with T-shirts or books or anything like that. That's another way for them to actually create some kind of revenue.
Well, that prevents me from paying them that much.
You dock their pay.
No, I don't actually. I just say, well, I'll bring you in for $800. And, oh, okay. Well, I'll make it up in sales.
I see. Okay.
Trying to save some money.
Well, are there any other tips? I think we have about 2 minutes left of the show, and I would just anything you want to impart on them, I would like to.
Tips?
Yeah, to get it out there.
Well, if you want to be a stand-up, if anybody is interested in being a stand-up, first you got to go to a club that has amateur night. For example, the Laugh Stop has amateur night. We used to, but we don't anymore. We wait until they're about 6, 7 months along.
Which is also called open mic.
Open mic night, yeah.
Open mic night is when you can go out.
In my day, it was animal night.
Animal night.
Animal night. But once you get as much stage time as possible, try to hang out with some headline acts that are willing to give you advice. Some guys are more than willing to talk to you or give you pointers, go over your act with a fine-tooth comb, and help you actually write and recognize what is funny and what isn't.
Sure, write a joke. Sure, with the punchline.
Yeah. But there's a lot of formulas for jokes, but they don't apply to everybody. You got to develop your own style, so you got to find yourself. I read one thing was, what was it in the movie Color of Money with Paul Newman?
Yes.
Was it Tom Cruise too in there?
I think it was Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I think the funny line that applies to stand-up is he told Tom Cruise, Paul Newman told Tom Cruise, "You're a good kid, but you have to learn how to be yourself on purpose." So what happens with a lot of young stand-ups is they try to imitate somebody else.
Sure.
There's a difference between imitating and emulating.
Sure.
And these guys try to imitate other people, and that's not you. You're just trying to be you're trying to be another so-and-so. You be the first you. And that's very difficult to achieve.
Instead of being Belushi, be you.
Be who you are. And it's difficult to get out of that shell and tear down that wall and just throw caution to the wind and say, yeah, I'm going to have fun, heck with it.
Cool. Danny, thank you for being you.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
This has helped more people than you can imagine, because a lot of people think that you can actually have a career as a stand-up comedian.
You can.
As long as you're smart about it.
Yes, it's a business.
It's a business. It's a business for us.
Definitely is.
So I want to thank my guests tonight, T-Shawn Shannon and Danny Martinez.
Really is.
Yes, and of course, I'd like to thank the Laugh Stop for letting us come over and shoot T-Shawn's work over there, Pete Pirelli. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Marty Finkelstein and Rob Mungle and Bob Biggerstaff for helping me navigate the waters of the comedy industry here to meet all the people I needed to meet to put this show together tonight. So please join us next week when our guests will be book authors, and we'll be talking about self-publishing versus getting a publishing deal. So remember, next time someone asks you what's the difference between a starving artist and an artist, tell them it's about an hour called MJ's Art Law.